2 years into her marriage, Mina found the time she spent alone with her father-in-law to be the most difficult. Her husband was frequently on overseas business trips, and her father-in-law often spent his days alone. Perhaps that's why her father-in-law frequently visited their house. However, their meetings were always awkward, and his words were mostly critical. "Mina, the way you run this household is too modern. Have you made plans to have a child? I want to see my grandchild, too. Don't just work all the time, take care of your family a bit more." His tone was blunt, and his expression was always stern. Mina felt her spirit shrinking with each visit. One weekend evening, her father-in-law unexpectedly showed up at their house. As soon as she opened the door, he said, "Your husband may be abroad. But why is the house so quiet? Have you eaten?" Just a little while ago. Was it this quiet even when you two were living here?" "Mina, you seem to lack sincerity." The words pierced Mina's heart deeply. "Father, I'm trying my best. But if you always tell me that I'm lacking." Hearing her words, her father-in-law's face hardened. "I'm telling you because you are lacking. Shouldn't a daughter-in-law of this family be doing at least this much?" Mina's lips trembled. "Father, you've never once told me, 'Good job,' or 'Thank you for your hard work.'" As her voice faltered, her father-in-law was silent for a moment. And a cold atmosphere settled between the two of them after that day. A few days later, Mina finally confided in her husband. "Father, he doesn't acknowledge anything I do." Her husband replied with a troubled expression. "You know Dad's personality. He's just bad at expressing himself. He truly wants to be good to you, but..." His words only made Mina's heart more conflicted. "Mina, could you spare some time today?" The voice was weaker than usual. Mina thought it over and then headed to her father-in-law's house. When she entered the house, her father-in-law was holding an old radio. This is the radio your mother-in-law used when she was alive?" Mina carefully asked. You never talk much about mother." Her father-in-law slowly exhaled. "Your mother-in-law, she always had a hard time because of my inarticulate nature. But she stayed by my side and kept smiling until the end. But ever since you came into our house, I suddenly started thinking about the old days. Am I making the same mistake again? Are you, perhaps, having a hard time, just like her?" Mina understood then. Her father-in-law's constant nagging was not just criticism, but a clumsy way of expressing worry, driven by the desire to protect the person he still had after a loss. Her father-in-law bowed his head and quietly said, "I'm sorry, Mina, I knew how hard you were trying, even if I couldn't say the words. But I was clumsy with my expressions. And so, I made you feel more lonely." Mina's eyes welled up. "Father, all I wanted was your recognition. That was very difficult for me." Her father-in-law handed her the old radio. I want to give this to you. It was your mother-in-law's most treasured possession. I think you'd take good care of it." Mina quietly wrapped her hands around the radio. The conversation between them slowly began to change. It was still awkward, still clumsy. But the beginning was different. Instead of blunt nagging, there was a concern. "Are you okay?" And in place of pressure, a small trust began to grow. And one day, her father-in-law said for the very first time, "Mina, thank you for coming into our home." Those words, like the old radio, were the sound that retuned the frequency of a heart that had stopped.